to go out tonight. Let's just stay in the house. Pour some champagne and order.
Hello everyone, so this eye tutorial is going to be all on the Jaclyn Hill palette she originally came out with. This is also going to be a try on haul type of video because I did place an order on Ulta and I tried out the new LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation, the Flower Beauty Concealer, all those types of things. So I'm just going to stop rambling. Let's just jump right into the video. The first product we are going to be going into is moisturizer, and I'm going in with this Coola White Tea Moisturizer. I've actually really been liking that moisturizer. It sinks into my skin really quickly, so therefore it's really good for makeup application immediately after. Also, it has SPF 50. Just moving on to primer, I don't have anything new, so I'm just going to be going into my Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. And okay, so I had to turn down the brightness a little bit on my camera because I feel like it was just a little too much. Who is texting me? That is so rude. Anyways, so moving on to foundation, I did pick up two. Obviously, my Wet n Wild Photo Focus, I had to repurchase this because I was running out. I did pick up the color Caramel, but the foundation that we are going to be using today is the new LA Girl Pro Matte. This is not a new foundation, but it's new to me. I've always wanted to try it, so I figured, why not try it with you guys? The color that I did get is the color Caramel. I'm going to forewarn you guys that I think that the color of this is just a little too orange for me particularly, but by the time I finish putting on concealer and everything, it does even out, so I think it'll be fine. I'm really liking the way this foundation looks. I will give you guys a little bit of an update on the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation. And I've made up my mind, I do not like it. And I don't like it not because it's a bad foundation. I don't like it because of my own preference. It's just too dewy for my personal liking. And it is full coverage, but you have to build it up. And I feel like the consistency is so thick that you would assume that you're going to get the full coverage immediately. But it is something that you do have to build. Again, the main reason why I don't like it is because it's just way too dewy. I'm more of a matte girl. Finally, moving on to concealer, I of course got two again. I repurchased my Tarte Shape Tape in the color Tan Sand. Love this concealer. What we are going to be using today is the new Flower Beauty Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. The color that I got was Medium Honey. I am just going to be putting this in the normal areas. I will say what I have noticed is that this concealer does dry really quickly, so you just kind of want to work with it a little bit more quickly than what you normally do. I'm going to go in and quickly set everything using my HourGlass Veil Translucent Powder.
Let's make it feel like room service. Baby, let me be yours.
Up the rest of my face, I am going in with my Maybelline Better Skin Powder in the color Coconut like I always do. And I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush and just kind of bring some color back into my face. To quickly bronze my skin, I'm going in with my Bahama Mama bronzer from the Balm Cosmetics with my Japanese brush.
Baby, let me be yours.
For blush, I'm going to be going into the MACXMATRICKSTARR Im Matte collab. This is in the shade I Am Not Blushing. Honestly, like I've said before, this is like the only product in his collection that I personally like. Now for highlighter, I am going into my Holy Grail, and this is the Becca and Jaclyn Hill collab. This is in the shade Champagne Pop. I'm going to first set my entire face using my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, and then immediately go in with the highlight.
Room service. No money left in our
That is on. I'm going back in with my setting spray and just setting everything once more. So we are going to be going into the original Jaclyn Hill palette with Morphe. I never purchased this palette when it first came out because I always felt like Morphe and Jaclyn Hill was going to come out with something else, and that second collab, that's what I was going to purchase. But since they ended up recalling her palettes, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to purchase the original palette. For my transition shade, I'm going to be using Beam and Silk Cream. I am, of course, blending this up in that upper crease area. My only complaint with this palette is that I feel like it doesn't have a banana shade for me to set my lids, and I think that that is such an important shade to have in a palette, especially considering the fact that it is such a big palette. With a different blending brush here, I'm going to be going into the shade Firework. And I'm just going to blend this shade a little bit lower than our transition shade.
Feel like luxury. Don't need no.
The third color we are going to be going into is Hunts. I'm just going to first pack the shade on that outer V and then blend it up into the crease. Of course, making sure you wing all of your shadows out. To deepen out the outer corners a little bit more, I'm going to be going into the shade Buns. Again, just kind of like patting the shade on and then buffing it in. Now I'm going to cut out the crease and we're going to be doing a half cut crease. I'm going back in with the Flower Beauty concealer that I use, and I'm just putting a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm just going to take my time and do a half cut crease.
Next to me. Yeah, always wanted to go out. Tonight, let's just stay.
And now that we have that finally on, I'm going to be going into my lid color with the shade Sissy. Just apply it right over that concealer. I'm going back into the shade Buns, and I'm just going to pack the shade in that little seam here just to make sure everything is blended. Lower lash line, I'm going in with a regular black liner. This is the Lottie London AM to PM Kohl liner. And I'm picking up a little bit of Buns, running that along my lower lash line. And then taking a little bit of Hunts, I'm going to use that to blend out those edges. For my inner corner highlight, I'm going to be going into the shade that's right next to Firecracker, which is the shade Faint. So what I'm going to do now is apply some wing liner, lashes, and mascara off of camera. Now moving on to lips, I'm going in with the WetnWild Gel Lip Liner in the color Gone Burgundy. I actually had to repurchase another one because I ran out of that. Just going to use this and overline my lips just a little bit.
Pour some champagne and water in. Let's make it feel like.
And for lips, I'm going in with another repurchase. This is the Maybelline matte lipstick. This is in the color Nude Nuance.
Baby, let me be yours. You know I could be yours.
And then one last time, setting everything. So this is the end of the look, guys. I hope you guys will like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and also please subscribe if you haven't already.
You know I could be your room service. Baby, let me be yours.